Hey, we are live. It is good afternoon on the East Coast. Good morning in the West Coast. I'm here. Gen X Deontay is here, and this is White to the Point, a black and forth conversation.
Yes, Jim. This is the second episode of the brand new year. 2024 is off and running like the people who were about to get arrested from the Capitol insurrection 3 years ago. It's really crazy. They're trying to run from all these prison terms they're getting, and it's embarrassing. I haven't seen this kind of upheaval because of somebody in the White House since the Richard Nixon Watergate scandal.
And even then, it wasn't an insurrectionary. It was just Nixon himself that wound up running.
Exactly. That's the whole point. But it's a
Well,
plum pleasing pleasure, man, to be talking to you, having a black and forth conversation, and being around you when you said that. What was that you said a few weeks ago about white people or racism is ignorant or something like that? I thought
yeah.
that was great. You said stupid people, stupid racist people are ignorant or something. But
No,
I
it's
appreciate
business. Okay, I said racism is stupid.
right.
Just that simple. Don't
Yeah.
sugarcoat it. Don't try to justify it. Sure the hell don't use any pseudoscience. Well, the black race is inferior to white people because of their brain and blah. I mean, that stuff has been around for centuries, and people still want to believe that crap.
Yeah, I would say so. But it's okay though because anytime you see a group of white people in the same area as a group of black people, let's say at a grocery store, at a shopping mall, at a post office, what you are witnessing is the descendants of slave owners mingling with the descendants of slaves. And it's really interesting when you think about it that way.
Yeah, but today it's just something I would hope that most people, regardless of race, don't even think about that. They just go about their business and see it as something normal.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's probably my big complaint about things like CRT or DEI or other social programs. They're not trying to normalize relations. They're not trying to normalize just daily life, but
Yeah.
rather they're trying to make one group of people special.
Yeah.
Well, when I hear the word special, I think about a short bus. And
That's
that's certainly not the people I know.
yeah. Well, let's not talk about the people you know. The last thing I need is another
Well, you're
comment.
one of them.
Oh, yikes. Now I got to bring my biracial friend back into the picture. This right here, my lovely, the missus, the blonde bombshell, got me this. And it's an inside story, but it was one of my favorite things.
I
But
tell you what, zebras aren't the most popular people right now. If you talk to anybody who's a fan of the NFL,
oh, man. Oh, that was a nice one. Nice segue. Wow. Yeah. Speaking of the NFL, I think the Cleveland Browns play today, and I think is it the playoffs? I think I don't know,
yes, it is
but
the playoffs.
that would be shocking if they win this game because I mean the Browns are about as discriminated against in terms of winning and losing as the brown people in America. So we'll see what happens.
I was going to say, I mean, the world is coming to an end. The Browns are in the playoffs. Cleveland had what 50-degree weather last week or the week before.
Well, I tell you what, it feels like the Wizard of Oz. The Twister is out there today, man. It's a nightmare, and it happens to be freezing cold. So you better hope that it's better when that weird meteor comes in April 8th or whatever that is.
The total eclipse.
Same thing.
Well, with any luck, maybe I'll be out there to see you and Sean. Since
You'll
it
be.
passes, both of you are living in the path of totality, by the way.
You know what's funny? You just helped me realize something that someone said to me a couple weeks ago. Someone told me, "Why are you?" They asked me this question. They said, "Why are you going to be standing in front of the sun on April 8th?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" But now I understand. Total eclipse. I get it.
Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime thing for most people. And you and Sean are living in the perfect place. You don't have to drive anywhere to see it or anything. It's going to go right over you.
The perfect place.
Yeah, I've
Famous
never
last
seen it.
words.
Yeah. No, so far I've never seen a total eclipse. Obviously, I've seen several partial eclipses, but I've never been under a total eclipse. And I think I'm going to do that as a bucket list item.
Have you ever seen Haley's Comet?
Yes, I got pictures of it.
What when did that take? Was that like 1986 when it came?
Yeah, I
Holy,
was in. Yeah, I was taking an astronomy class in college. It's funny. I'll make it real quick. I had one day the counselor called me in. He said, all you got to do is take a lab class, take a science class with a lab class, and you can get your degree in philosophy. Okay, so I took astronomy. We had field trips, and Haley's Comet was coming through that year. So I got to see Haley's Comet, and I got my degree that year.
holy smokes! You got your degree at the age of 33 years old.
Yeah,
Holy,
33, 34, something like that.
that's unbelievable. I'm proud of you, man. Better late than never, but never late is better. That actually came from.
Well, I wasn't going to do it at all, except that every time I filled out a job application, they were asking for a degree, and I mean, I've been in my field for 10 years already. I had actually taught some of the classes that I had to take.
Well, that's an insult if you think being in your field for 10 years is like a long time because my grandfather was a cotton picker and he was in the field for more than 10 years.
Well, that's a sad commentary on on a different level.
Exactly. So we must respect the sharecroppers. Anyways, we have
Yeah.
a huge thing, man. It's the election. We are officially in the election year, the presidential election year. And it's crazy to think that it's been 8 years since Obama's final term. Unreal. The last year of his final term.
Yeah, the first one I want to hit is something Charlemagne, a clip from Charlemagne where he's playing a clip from Joe Biden, something Biden said in 2020.
Oh wow.
And this is something that you have to answer for me. As a white man, I can only imagine your actual reaction to it. I, I really can't experience it myself. So, I'm going to bring this up. And with any luck,
and black people saved your political life in the primaries this
you
year.
have
They
audio?
have things they want from
Yes.
you, and one of them is a black woman running mate. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is that I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered, but I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered. Multiple.
You
Thanks so much. That's really our time. I apologize.
You can't do that to black media.
I can't do that to white media and black media because my wife has to go on at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It
right there.
Holy smokes.
has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Hey.
Now, right there. I want to play that again.
Holy smokes.
To do with Trump, it has to do with the fact I want something.
Trump, and you ain't more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump.
What do you think about that, Deontay?
Holy
What
smokes.
did you think when you first heard that? I know you must have heard that back in 2020.
I tell you what, this is my first time hearing this. Wow. Well, man, that's highly unexpected, actually.
No, back in 2020, Biden carried, I think, 85% of the black vote. Today, the polls coming out of, and get this is Washington Post and CNN and other liberal news outlets, their polling is showing him with only about 65% support from black voters.
Wow.
Can he win without the black vote? And also among Hispanics, I think he carried something like 55-60% of the Hispanic vote. He carried most of it. His support now among Hispanics is as low as 30 to 35%.
Well, you know what? Going back to what you said first and foremost, um, I'll tell you right now. It's shocking to me that he said what he said, but it's more shocking that he actually said it out loud. I mean, he feels that way is one thing, but to say it out loud, that right there tells me that it's a lot like Hillary Clinton back in 2016 when she was talking about how she carried around a bottle of hot sauce in her purse. And it was crazy
Yep.
because she referenced the black community and she thought it was cool to say.
Yeah,
So
everyone has said for a long time that the Democrats basically take the black vote for granted, but they don't usually say it out loud. Here's Biden coming out and saying it right out loud, and it ranks right up there with his comment. I don't know whether he made this one first or later, but he said that, well, poor children are just as smart as white kids. Poor kids are as smart as white kids. What the hell does that say?
yeah, it's crazy. But now I'm wondering. See, this is the kind of thing with Biden saying that it makes me wonder: did he just get caught up in the moment because he thinks he's talking to some hip black guy that's in the media like Charlemagne, or is that something that he said because deep down he's like, man, I really have to seem like I'm pro-black in order to get this? Which, if that's the case, man, it kind of makes him more like a fraud. Because up until hearing this, I was thinking, man, Biden is the guy because look at how closely he worked with Obama and how well he worked with him. And he just seems like he's the anti-Trump in terms of making it be more about white America. He seemed like he was more inclusive, but now it's like, wow, this guy really is kind of he's a covered up racist, or at least he has racial ignorance, which is not the same thing as being racist. Either way, it makes me question his motives now going forward.
Yeah, at least I try to acknowledge my ignorance. There's areas I'm going to be ignorant in. I mean, of course I'm going to be, but at least I want to learn.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Wow, I'm surprised. I have to go back and see if this made big headlines at the time he said it
It did.
because I don't remember. I didn't see this. This is crazy. But if you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you see how he seems a lot more lucid in 2020 than now.
That was the other comment I was going to make. It's kind of snarky. I mean, if that's what he says when he's more or less lucid, imagine what he's saying, certainly in private today, when we can see him visibly having trouble talking and even walking up or downstairs.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it like this. This is not a joke. I spoke better than him when I was in my ultrasound picture. Okay.
I think this isn't even about, oh, Trump's the right man. No, not by any means. I'm not pro-Trump for president, not by any means. I'm saying Biden is not a man that I want to keep in the White House. Hell, I would take JFK Jr. before Biden. I'd love to see Manchin make it down a run.
Dude, the fact that you would take JFK Jr. now and he's been dead for almost 25 years, that's amazing.
Sorry, RFK Jr.
No, yours was better the first time.
Yeah.
JFK Jr.
Yeah.
He is
and right there is a perfect example why I don't want Biden. I mean, I'm 70 years old. I'm 10 years younger than Biden, and I have Biden moments.
right.
We used to call them brain farts, but nowadays they're Biden moments.
Well, put it this way, and from what I've learned, because I was pro-Biden, I voted for Biden last time, but here's the deal. There is a direct correlation between what JFK Jr. did with his airplane and what Biden is doing to this country. Seriously.
Yeah, there's a wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah. And it's I feel like we're going to be at the bottom of Martha's Vineyard, just like JFK Jr. Almost 25 years ago. This is embarrassing.
Well, you'll probably be okay. I mean, Governor Abbott shipped off about 50 illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard and Martha's Vineyard got them out of there in less than 24 hours. They're not going to take anyone who's not white.
Exactly. Oh, let's leave that boy here. Let's leave Darnell, Rayshawn, and Tyrone.
Yeah, and talking about that, you've got the mayor of New York, Mayor Adams in New York City. Now he's suing the bus companies that are bringing in the people from Texas. Why? How can you sue the bus companies for carrying out a legal contract? The state of Texas says, hey, take these people to New York. The bus company says it's going to cost you this much. Texas says, okay, boom. What did the bus company do wrong?
I just think that everything right now is not going to be good choices, smart choices that we can depend on. It's not like politicians have been on the up and up in history. They haven't. I mean, politicians by definition are snarky and they are insurance salesmen. But with that being said, we can't really, anything that's being said by a politician, we have to take with a grain of salt and not
That
put
goes back to ancient Greece and Egypt for that matter.
Yeah.
Actually, not so much Egypt, because there at least they didn't have a democracy or pretend to have one. There's a straight emperor, ruler, pharaohs in their case. Now, his advisors might have been a little bit snarky or a little bit slimy, but they just had absolute power, and that was that. It didn't matter what they said, you just did it.
That's embarrassing. Well, like I said, this is going to be an interesting race. That woman, what's her name? I think Nikki Haley.
Yes.
Is that her name? Okay. What do you? What do you
She's
think?
interesting.
I know you think she's compelling and things like that, but what is her actual chance you think of winning? Because first of all, remember how it was with what's that guy's name? The one that was like Chinese that was running before.
Yang.
Yeah.
Yang.
That guy, people were really high on him, and they were thinking, oh, this guy, he has a shot. He really does have a shot. But I never felt like people like that had a shot. So Nikki Haley, is she just someone that's, she says some good things, or does she have a legitimate chance to win?
She's building momentum. Now that Chris Christie has dropped out, she's picked up a number of his supporters. Depending on what poll you want to look at, she's within 13 points of Trump in Iowa.
Wow.
13 points sounds like a lot, and in normal cases, it would be. But considering that just a couple of months ago, Trump was out in front of everybody by almost 50%. 13 points isn't that much. And she's got twice as much support as DeSantis. If she has a strong showing in Iowa, she doesn't have to win Iowa, but if she has that strong showing and goes into New Hampshire and keeps that strong level of support and knocks DeSantis down even further, then if DeSantis does the smart thing and drops out, she could win. She could give Trump a run for the money.
Wow. Can you imagine how poetic that would be if if she were to somehow be matched up against him and then win, given how he feels about women in a negative context?
Well, I'll tell you what. One of the things I'm looking at is that, a lot of the Republican base, especially the evangelical right, they want Trump. They love Trump. But the simple fact of the matter is this. Even if you honestly think Trump would be the best man to be in the White House, do you really want somebody in there who is going to be embroiled in constant political struggle, legal struggles, blocked every single step of the way, every day of the week for 4 years? Can anything get done? No. Just for the sake of making progress, we have to have somebody else in there.
Yeah.
Biden's going to have the same problem. Except not legal problems. There's going to be Republicans going after him constantly.
Well, I'll tell you one
So,
thing. I'll tell you one thing. You mentioned it, and we didn't even spend much time on this, but it's devastating that Christie dropped out because I think a lot of us believe that Christie is one of the few people that that was gonna give a legitimate pushback with Trump. He's able to speak in a way that's like, oh man, Christie is being brutally honest, whereas other people try to sugarcoat things. So it's kind of a big loss, and I'm not sure why he dropped out, but man, that's kind of awful.
well, the lack of support is one thing, but yeah, he was giving Trump pushback, but so is Haley. Not as DeSantis tries to, but not really. And of course, Ramaswamy, he's Trump light.
That's funny.
But no, Haley is actually pushing back on Trump somewhat. And once again, what adds to her interest, she was the Secretary of State. She has the experience of working closely with Trump on international matters, international policy, knowing how the UN works, knowing what our current enemies are like. So she brings a lot to the table in that area. And right now, with what's going on with Iran being the puppet master over in the Red Sea and elsewhere, we need that type of experience.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you don't deal with these militant or these terrorists over in the Red Sea by putting them on a bus and shipping them out.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. You know what? If you think about this, there's a great deal of disorganization in the political world because so many things. It's almost like people have to pick their least horrible choice. It used to be back in the day where, you know what? I clearly want to pick Clinton over Ross Perot. I clearly want to pick Reagan over, having Carter run again or win again.
Yeah.
Now it's like, because there was clearly a really great candidate. Now it's not about great. It's who is the least of a loser.
And when we say loser, we're not kidding when it comes to these two front runners.
Wow.
I sincerely hope we don't see a Biden-Trump rematch.
Oh, jeez. God.
But I will make my prediction again. I'll put it out there. Biden is going to say that he's decided not to run again just days before the Democrat convention. And the Democrats will throw it open to, quote, a floor fight, unquote, when in fact they know who they want. And that somebody is going to be either Governor Newsom or possibly Michelle Obama. But I think it's going to be Governor Newsom.
Well, I had floated this to our anonymous content feeder, Mark Levine. I floated this idea, Mark Levine running for president, and the anonymous content feeder said, "Oh heck yeah, he definitely should," and he said that Biden is let's just say, a dingaling sucker.
Now,
So, what do you think about Levine running?
Well, he is so far to the right, it's just unimaginable. He's right out there with Glenn Beck.
Yeah. Can you imagine any of those guys running, like Tucker Carlson or Bill O'Reilly? I mean, that would be a nightmare.
Bill O'Reilly, at least, it would be tolerable. Somebody was saying one of these talking heads saying they'd like to see Tucker Carlson be Trump's VP.
Wow.
Now, don't get me wrong. Here I'm bashing Republicans. I'm not a Democrat either. As I've said before, I'm a classical liberal. I'm a registered as unaffiliated, but I'm basically a Whig. I'm actually a member of the Reform Party, and I helped draft our national platform last year.
A wig? Shit, that does not look like a wig. That looks pretty authentic. It's a
Well,
nice.
yeah, what's left there is, but
Oh, you're talking about up there. I thought you were talking about down here. I thought you were saying that was a wig. I was gonna say, holy crap. Who cares? You still look
no,
great.
for me in politics, I'm a classical liberal, which basically says, leave me alone and let me live my life. Give me the tools that I need when I need them to live my life, but don't tell me how I'm going to live my life.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to tell anybody else the way to live theirs.
That's my whole point. Now, what do you think about this situation with I guess migrants get up to 2 years free rent?
Yeah.
New apartment?
Yeah,
What the heck is that?
I was trying to find a way into that. No, that's Massachusetts. That's Maine that put that in place. And I was reading stories about it, and the one that you sent me, it didn't say if it was people here legitimately claiming asylum or if it could be illegal immigrants coming in.
Wow.
So that's a question right there. But even if they're here legally, I've got a problem. As I've said several times, we have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of homeless already. Tens of thousands of homeless vets. Take care of our people first. And I think that's what really has people pissed off about the illegal immigrant situation more than anything else, is that we're not taking care of our people first. We're not taking care of the people who came here legally and who've been waiting in line for years to become citizens. Why should these people jumping the border be allowed to cut in line?
Yeah. I don't understand why anybody that's not American gets more perks than Americans.
And that free housing is bad enough, but California, Newsom just signed a bill. Illegal immigrants now receive 100% free total health care.
Wow.
California, I think, has got the largest illegal population in the whole country. And they're already $30-some billion in debt. and going deeper in debt because people are leaving California in droves, especially people with money. In fact, it's so bad. California's now passes they're trying to pass a wealth tax, but if you leave California, they're still going to try and tax you on what you take with you.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the governor that people want to maybe be president?
Our values are backwards and mixed up, man. I think it's safe to say that.
Now, I was born and raised in California, and I loved living there. It was great. But I moved out in 2005, and I'm never going back. You literally cannot pay me enough to live in California.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that you stayed in California all the way from birth to 2005?
Not all the way. I did move out for a few years during the 90s, from like 91 to 98. And then 99, I lived in Texas.
Wow. So that's why all your exes live in Texas. Because you were there for 7 years.
Yeah, well, the ones who weren't already there moved there later.
That's so perfect. Well, just for the record, I hang my hat in Tennessee. But that whole situation is interesting, though, because it depends on what part of California were you from. Were you in the slum part like East LA or the ritzy part like Bel Air?
I was in Huntington Park, southeast Los Angeles, so I had East LA on one side of me, and I had South Central over on the other.
Oh, geez. No wonder you got a little bit of like a little bit of a heart towards black people. You know, I mean, you were in close proximity to black people in California.
Yeah, South Central is on one side. Compton, of course, is just south of us. North of us, north and east, we had Maywood and East LA. All those areas.
Did you did
So,
you did you live near East LA in the early 1980s?
yes.
Oh, you were one lucky person. Do
Uh,
you understand?
well, I'm sorry, 80s? Actually,
Like
it's in
like
Orange County.
like 1983, like right around the time you were about 30.
I was in Orange County at the time.
Oh man, how
I was living in Santa Ana.
how far is that from East LA?
Uh, I'm I'm going to say like a 20 to 30-minute drive, which
Oh man,
means with traffic about 15 miles.
oh
But
man, you're so lucky because listen, at the time Michael Jackson was living in Encino, um, California, Havenhurst, and they shot the iconic Thriller short film in East LA in October 1983.
yep, I
Like
thought I recognized that area.
Pacific Junction High or something like that. It was like the most iconic place ever. And you were actually in close proximity, man. And you probably weren't that far from Encino. Wow.
Well, in Southern California, you're never far from anywhere. You're never close to anywhere. It's just so spread out. People say LA. You're actually talking about 50 or more towns all grouped together that they call it LA when the actual city doesn't take up that much actual area.
So in your experiences, is West Hollywood a ritzy place or a slum place? Because instead Hollywood is actually pretty trash.
I don't know today. Back when I was living there, West Hollywood was pretty nice. I mean, it wasn't bad. Hollywood was nice. Of course, Beverly Hills. I'm certain that West Hollywood has gone down. West Hollywood had its certain reputation.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know what you mean by that.
no, but no, you had the Sunset Strip going through there.
You have a party over there?
Yeah,
Was it all they say it is?
yeah.
I know Richard Pryor did a whole comedy special there.
Yep. I forget what club he was at. Well, he did several shows there on the Strip, just like he did many here in Vegas. I mean, at the time, everybody wanted to play on the Sunset Strip. Of course, you had the Whiskey A Go Go with all of those bands, the classic bands,
Wow.
classic
That's
music.
like,
My God, calling what the stuff I grew up with is classic music now.
how do you think I feel? I mean, there's music from 2010 that's considered oldies. Embarrassing, man. That's okay. We're elderly, but we still are gorgeous. I'm almost as good looking as you.
Oh, I'm pretty certain the Blonde Bombshell would disagree with that statement and say that you're underrating yourself.
Yeah, the Blonde Bombshell is amazing. Wow, amazing. But yeah, man.
By the way, I cut you off when you first held up that zebra. You said there was a story about how she got that for you.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a story. It's just it's a kind of a it's kind of an inside joke. And when she gave it to me, like probably about 3 weeks ago, I was like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing." The problem is I don't know. I don't have AAA batteries because it takes batteries and I have no idea what it does. If you look at the belly, it takes battery. It takes a battery. All I have is AA. I got this gigantic pack of AA batteries,
Yep.
but no AAA.
Yeah, don't leave home without them.
It's embarrassing.
No, I keep a pack of both AA and AAA there in my laptop case all the time because I never know when I'm going to need them.
Well, if you ever come back here again within the next year or so, bring me one of those. Seriously. Don't forget.
Well, you can get to the store a lot easier than I can nowadays, so
Yeah.
get your own.
Yeah.
Get
But-
your own.
Whatever. Yeah, but hopefully you can come here and we can go vote together.
Well, I'm not going to come out at that time of year.
Well,
Although, even if you do have early voting, it's still too damn cold for me to go out there.
okay, well then I'll come out there then.
Yeah, at least it'd be relatively warm. We have early voting too. It's same day registration. You'd have no trouble voting.
Wow, whoever knew that being a Negro can have its perks. Well, we feel sorry for what we did to them. Let's let them come in first, so we can throw their ballots away first. What can you say, man?
Actually, I just saw a story. I want to say it's Chicago. It might have been Ohio, but there's a community that had a mobile voting place, a mobile poll, and it was a van that would drive around the neighborhoods, park, and you could go and cast your early ballot.
You kidding me?
No. Well, the state Supreme Court said, nope, that's not legal. Can't do that.
It's very legal to the person doing it. Maybe not to the country, but it's very legal for the person doing it.
Yeah, I mean, talk about ballot harvesting.
That's humiliating, man. I mean, I don't know what's worse, all these crimes that Diddy has been committing, or the ballot the ballot stuff you're talking about. It's wow.
Yeah, talking about crime and punishment, I'm certain next week, the way things are going with Trump, we're going to have plenty to talk about. Well, we do every week. We've got the Iowa caucus on Monday. Let's see where Haley comes in at.
I also have to give a shout out to the birthday boy from yesterday, Howard Stern, the great Howard
That's
Stern.
right.
He turned 70 yesterday.
Yep. At least he's in better shape than I am, apparently.
Well, he's amazing. Well, you know he's 6'5".
Yeah. I mean, one of the original shock jocks.
Yeah, he's better. Listen, to me, he's better than Don Imus. Way better.
I tell you what, we're running over. I'm going to get out of here. I need more coffee. My coffee cup is almost empty.
Exactly.
That's
I
how
guess-
I time my day.
Okay, well, I guess we'll push back the T-Mobile thing for another week. That's fine.
Why not? No, the T-Mobile thing. Talking about the possible censorship or monitoring your censoring your posts and so forth. What they're going to do that only applies to their advertisers. They're going to keep a tighter rein on what their paid advertiser or paid content has. It's not going to apply to normal texting and so on and so forth. But it's the companies that push out ads over SMS.
Wow.
They're going to say, nope, you're not going to put in hate speech. Okay, this is not a bad idea in theory. In practice, it has problems. And another big part of the problem is companies like T-Mobile, AT&T, and so on, Verizon, and also YouTube and Facebook. They claim to be common carriers. Now, in the case of the telcos, they really are common carriers, which means they exercise no control over content. They simply provide the pipeline. But they want to act like publishers and not be liable for censorship charges.
Exactly.
And so they've got a sweetheart deal with Congress that gives them the best of both.
Wow.
So that's a sticky wicket, as our friends across the pond would say.
A sticky wicket. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man. Everything is always more complicated than it seems.
Yes, it is.
What can you say?
I hate it. On the bright side, I'm not going to have to deal with it all that much longer.
Oh, you're getting rid of T-Mobile?
Say again?
Why? Because you're getting rid of T-Mobile?
I've got AT&T. I've had AT&T ever since, hell, that's all I've ever had is AT&T one way or another.
Yeah, but what you said, you don't have to deal with it much.
Oh, that's just my morbid sense of humor coming through.
Oh, don't say that. It's embarrassing.
You're the one who's going to have to deal with it for another 35, 40 years or more.
Oh, I don't say that. It's horrible. Yeah. We're going to keep you around.
Yeah, modern medicine will find a way to keep me here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to keep you around.
Yeah, if nothing else, somebody's going to keep me around just because they want to see me suffer.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. Of course, I'm a little bit conflicted anyway because my favorite saying of mine is, the best revenge, outlive your enemies.
Exactly. And I do believe that you'll outlive Trump. Because he's kind of not he's more like your friend of me, I think. He's more your friend of me.
I'll tell you what, he's not somebody I would want to have a beer with right now, even if he did drink.
I would.
And I sure the hell wouldn't want to have one with Biden.
Well, if you just sit with him as he is now, it's just like having a beer with him. He's going to be slurring his words. He's going to be falling down. It's like, hey, Biden, how many have you had?
Yeah, the most powerful man in the world can't even walk up a set of stairs.
Wait a minute. You think I'm the most powerful person in the world? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot, man. Thank you.
Once again, on that note, let's kind of people who, if for those of you who have watched and stayed all this way, please hit the like and subscribe. Contribute to Deontay's retirement fund to help get us monetized.
Oh, man.
And we will see you again next week, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
And have a great Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
Is that this weekend? I know it's coming up.
Monday.
No, Monday?
Yeah.
I gotta double check that. Now that I haven't been working for a few months, I haven't been paying attention to the calendar. I don't know what days the holidays are.
Can't just forget about the black heroes when you're not working, man. It's Monday.
No, it's just that every day is a day off, so I don't pay attention to the calendar as much.
Right.
And I'm surprised. Iowa's having its caucus on Martin Luther King Day.
Well, of course.
I mean, that's the reason I didn't think about it.
Well,
I mean, why the hell would you schedule a caucus on a national holiday?
because they don't care. Listen, if Martin Luther King was still living, he'd be turning 95 on the 15th. And he did not live past 39.
Yeah, I know. No, as much as people didn't care for him or Malcolm X back in the day, they had important things to be said. Things that we had to hear, both blacks and whites. Everyone had to hear what they were saying. Even though they were, I won't say polar opposites, but they didn't necessarily agree on everything by any means.
Well, of course not.
But it is an important message.
I mean,
And it's been forgotten.
Dr. King was talking about nonviolence, and Malcolm X said by any means necessary. That's the opposite of nonviolence.
Yeah. Okay. You have a good one, Deontay. Talk to you all later.
All right, man.
Out of here.